Hey everyone, it's Miss Nina Monique, host of the Corporate Rebel podcast.
It's
I'm
Friday.
ready. All right. Hey guys, welcome to the Corporate Rebel. We are back for another fun-filled episode, but with serious topics as usual. We have Mr. Landon, and we have Miss Terretta. How are you guys doing today?
Groovy.
That's good. You ready for the 4th of July?
Is the 4th ready for me? That's
Uh-oh.
always the question when it comes to a
Uh-oh.
holiday, because I know how to enjoy myself. That's my answer, and I'm sticking with it.
Landon?
I can't do nothing. I'm sick, so I'm staying in.
Oh,
We ain't gonna get no
yeah.
sleep. People let off fireworks around our neighborhood, so that'll be
Oh,
fun.
yeah. We're going to
Well,
be
that's
hearing a lot
happening over here too. They started like 3 months ago.
Yeah, they
Same
do that, but
here.
it's literally like right outside our window.
Oh my, well, I'm sorry.
Same
So
here.
we'll be
Yep.
up. We will be up.
So for today's show, I had a few topics I wanted to talk about. We just gonna talk about some things going on in the world, and also, how it ties into corporate America, because it all ties into corporate America some way or the other. And I wanted to bring some of these topics to the table because they are very important to me. As Teretta said when we had a conference call, she's very much into politics. I'm also very much into politics because whether we want to accept it or not, it's very much involved in our life now. Everything with politics is very much involved in our life, whether we want it to be or not. So I wanted to just talk about one of the topics is Elon Musk and the whole Tesla situation. I was reading where Landon was so funny.
I was going to ask you to run out there and get some ice cream, girl. I hear the ice cream truck.
This is what we're talking about with Landon.
Maybe you want some salsa by calling Tesla Telsa. Okay.
Whatever, Tesla, whatever it's called. It starts with a T.
Oh my, this is going to be
ends
one of
with a
those days.
So anyway, he laid off some people from his company. Some of the people just started. Some people had an offering letter out and he had to take it back. And to me, I've been in that situation before where I've had an offering letter given to me and it was taken back due to budget. So for people going through that at his company, I understand, the frustration, because now it's like, how do I support myself, especially during this time that we're in? People say it's jobs out there, but it's so much competition now because everyone is looking for something. He also has the badge check-in where he want his employees to check in the office, with their badge to make sure everyone is actually working and to start bringing people back into the office. It is kind of like he's demanding it, which I personally feel during the times that we're in, no one should be demanding anyone back into the office. There should be a choice at this point, because nobody want to get sick. And if you get sick, sometimes they have in a clause you can't sue the company for that. So, it's like you have to weigh your options and see if it's, something that you really want to do going back into the office. So I wanted to talk about that again because I can relate to it. And at the same time, I wanted to get the feedback from you and Landon on what you guys think about it. So Landon, Terretta, take it away.
Go ahead, Landon. You the sick one.
Mentally and physically, yeah.
I was gonna have you start. I'm the one.
Why?
Tequila.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That's why you need to start. It gives me a moment to get my thoughts together.
Um, I mean, I think that's a tough one. I mean, because if he's the one running the company, he's the one who ultimately makes the rules. You know, it's your choice if you want to play by his rules or not. But at the same time, you do have bills to pay, you have a family to support, so on and so forth. So I think for me, and I might be a little bit biased because I'm actually able to work from home and have been since the beginning of the pandemic, and my workflow has not stopped. My productivity has not stopped. My quality of work has not stopped. So it's a benefit for me, not to mention I don't have to drive 85 miles to get to work at 2 in the morning, you know, just to be there by 4. So I see the benefits of it. But then at the same time, if you have employees that aren't fulfilling that same level of work and they are more productive in the office, I can understand the want or desire for them to come back into the office. As far as it being a demand, I think with the COVID protocols lifting, managers or employers can actually make such a request now because there are ways to somewhat bypass it. I mean, there's really no way around it, but to kind of minimize the potential, you know, and maybe it's a shift to where some people come in at certain times and a completely different group comes in to where you're not overcrowded. I'm not quite sure. I haven't really done any research on what he's suggesting, but when you own such a company and you make such amount of money, there may be things that you can't do at the same level while working from home. So I'm on the fence with it and kind of equating that to my current situation in working from home. And I see the benefits, but I also know that there are people who work in my same department that their work is not the same. You don't have that extra set of managerial eyes on you to make sure that you're pulling the weight that you should. You know, you can't turn a 15-minute break into 2 hours and say, oh, I needed to run to the grocery store type thing. So if there's deadlines that need to be met by 5 o'clock and you're, oh, I'm just going to do it at 7 when I get back on, or I'll do it tomorrow morning, like that stuff is not acceptable and it shouldn't be. So there still has to be some standard that, you know, people are held to. And unfortunately, we do work in an environment now where working from home has allowed a lot of laziness and a lot of complacency. And if that's kind of what he's seeing, to where he's losing money, even though he has enough for himself, if he's losing money by his employees not working the hours that they should and being able to be as productive as they should, then I can 100 understand how he's, you know, making these type of demands, and it'll weed out the people that actually need the job, I guess, or figure like going in the office is, you know, the lesser of two evils than, you know, staying at home or trying to find another job. Tequila.
All right, I'm sitting here and I agree with some of it. But in the article that I read, he made a distinction. He made a distinction between his executives and I think he called them factory workers. I think that's how I read it, the people who come and build. And I guess this is at the Tesla plant. And what he said was he would rather for people come in to the office for at least 40 hours. If they can at least put that in, he felt that wasn't half as the time of the time that the factory workers were actually coming in, putting work in. And so one I don't know, because you have different outlets that carry different versions of their story, but I saw that and I thought that was interesting because in that article, it made a distinction. He was really talking to the executives and managers. And so it made it seem to me, in what I read, was there was two different things going on for success to people. The factory workers had to be there. They didn't have no other option because that's a hands-on job. But that the executives are pretty much staying at home and managers. And he was saying, you need to come in here. I don't think that I'm asking you too much to put in 40 hours. If the other workers are coming in hands-on and putting in more time, I can understand that. I can
Yeah.
also understand where Landon's coming from because he is the owner of that company. Can understand that. I can
Yeah.
also understand where Landon's coming from because he is the owner of that company. And but he also said that he doesn't agree with work from home. He feels that it is for people who don't have that drive or that they're more lazier when they're home. And you just kind of said something like that. That may go for, I think, a small percentage of people, but most people who know that they need money to take care of their bills, they're going to try to do their best from working from home because they don't want to get fired. They don't want to get laid off. So I really think, for me, looking in and listening to this, the man has a point. Okay, not every job you can be able to work from home. And the numbers are down, even though they're climbing. So I think you kind of have a hard case. But here's my question. Should they use work from home as a asset to draw people more to their companies?
I mean, should they? I would say
Is it an advantage? What
I
do you
think
see it as an advantage that a company would do that, use that as leverage? Because a
most
lot of
definitely.
people do want to work from home.
Yeah. I mean, this is my first job where I've been allowed to work from home. And I always thought about, oh, you can kind of, when you think of working at home, you think of all the benefits. You kind of make your own schedule. You have certain tasks that need to be done by a certain week or a certain month. And, you kind of just decide when you're going to work on it. Like, how long it's going to take you, but you're like, oh, I'll put it off until, almost the final hour and still get it done to where you can have that time with your family. Like for me, before I was gone from 2 in the morning until 5 or 6 at night. And I was literally getting like 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours a day, if that, with my family. And now it's all day, every day. And so it's you see the benefits of being able to be here to where, your spouse may need to run to the store, you can stay with the kids. Or, you might have something where you just need to run, like, hey, boss, I need to run to the store real quick. I'll be back in 20 minutes. And even if it takes 30, 45 minutes, you still get to come back and do your work. And people are more receptive to working extra hours because you're in the comfort of your home, as opposed to, if I'm not out of here by 5 o'clock, I'm going to be sitting in traffic for an extra 45 minutes. So that kind of bodes into the productivity if people are actually able to work from home and kind of balance that work life type schedule, personal life. And if companies are leveraging that, it can be a benefit as long as you're not one of those lazy people. But I don't think that people really come in starting off lazy. I think that kind of happens over time of like, okay, I can kind of do this. This isn't that hard. But then that kind of sets a tone as well for all the other employees. So you get connected with somebody who's kind of figured out a way to kind of cheat the system or fly under the radar. It's easy to kind of influence somebody else to do the same thing. So now you have a bunch of people who are working from home and not really being as productive as they could be or should be had they been in the office.
Well, what do you say to that single mother that may have some younger kids? And right now, it is more beneficial because she can't afford childcare. Okay, prices then went up, and now she's working on a job, but she's able to work from home, but she has children. What do you say to that person that may not be of lazy, but let's say one of her kids are sick and she doesn't want to call off sick and need to, or manage, just dealing with kids anyway, because when you work from home, you're taking on everything that goes on in your home too. And it's not on a schedule. Okay, things don't happen, you know. Things like you may work from 8 for 5. Situations may not wait till 5:01 to happen. They may start early in the day. So how do you suggest that balance? Because this will work for, let's say, parents who can't afford childcare. Okay, and I'm just using that as an example. And then their kid gets sick, and it may be a job that they can still do and work on their kids, but like I said, you don't know, life situations happen, and it doesn't happen after the time you are clock out. What do you say to that person?
I think there's two ways of kind of looking at it. One, hopefully you have a manager that has the understanding of life and personal and kids and everything that comes along with it, because if they don't, one, likely you're not going to be cut out for that job, not because you can't do it, but because your availability does not work for that manager or for that company. And two, you got to have that open relationship with them, letting them know what your situation is before. Maybe being able to have a schedule that allows you to do both, or creating timelines that can allow you not to have to work between 8 and 5. Or if there's things that need to be done by that time, you make sure that those things are done, and then other stuff can kind of wait, so you can deal with the personals of the things that aren't really planned for. So, I mean, to say to that person, I mean, it's all going to depend on the company. You know, are there roles that are going to be available that are going to be beneficial for a stay-at-home mom or somebody who needs to work from home? Maybe they have medical conditions that don't allow them to drive, or they can't get to a bus to get into the office, but their mind and their hands work, so they can type on the keyboard, they can talk on the phone. But you might have an unexpected doctor visit and you might have to take off. So it's having the understanding of what comes along with working from home, because it's very hard it's complex, we'll say, to separate the personal and the work.
Right.
Because of the unexpected things, honestly, in both, because there are things that happen within an office setting, and it's like, okay, I'm just going to go to your desk and get this printout and get it taken care of. Now I have to figure out how to get you on the phone, or why aren't you responding to my emails? And the communication gap is expanded, because you might be in back-to-back meetings and I might not be able to reach you, but I need that piece of paper that you have. And you might not understand the importance of it because I haven't gotten you on the phone, but I have my manager breathing down my neck. So it just might not be best suited for somebody who has, and that's maybe what somebody like Elon Musk or other managers are looking at. Even though you have family, we need you to be able to separate family from getting work done here with the company. I don't personally agree with that being the sentiment or the mindset, because to me that's most important.
Absolutely.
So it you have to have that relationship, in my opinion, and luckily I do, with your direct reporter or reportee, so that you know what's going on, they know what's going on with you. And
But
you don't
that's the
feel
key, though, right?
Yeah.
It's the managers.
And communication.
That is key. So when you don't have that type of manager, and you're trying to be open with that manager, and let's say that 90% of the time you get your work done and get work done on time. Let's say you're that worker that kind of stay to yourself and you do your thing, right? But then you go into a season where you're working from home, and in the words of Miss Nina Monique, shit happens, right? I'm just saying, because we're talking about corporate America, right? And working from home, and these are the issues that rise up. Because one of the things I do not agree with what you and Elon Musk are saying, and that is I really do think it's a small percentage of people who really get over from working at home. The majority of people, I really believe, are focused because that's your job.
And you
Okay.
got rent to pay or a
That's right.
mortgage to pay.
That's right. There's a responsibility because I wish I could escape from mine for hours, but thank God that I now do have a working relationship. I wish I could escape from mine for hours, but thank God that I now do have a working relationship with my manager where, like, the last couple of months with the double deaths, my blood pressure has been high. So I've been having to leave and go get my blood pressure monitored, right? And this been happening for the last 6 weeks. I could have snuck away and did what I needed to do and come back in a timely manner. But because I do have that open communication with my boss, my supervisor, I let her know. And so it changes my day around because we have this 5 hour time thing that we have to clock in or out before that 5:01 hit, right? And so sometimes my appointments are like right dead in the middle. So that means I need to clock out and take a lunch that I don't even take at that time just so I don't pass those 5 hours and get penalized because that brings in a whole nother situation. So you have to be able to have that communication with your supervisor, but a lot of people don't.
I mean,
They don't.
you can touch on that.
Well, speak on it. Let's speak on it. That's why I'm bringing it up. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to get to my tequila as quick as I can. That's all the sisters saying up in the camp. That's all.
Nina.
I know Nina thinks she's getting out of this convo.
She not.
You're listening.
No, I don't think so. I'm sorry, but I would need you to repeat the question because I was looking at something. No, I just need the question repeated. I was looking at something. Now, what was the question, Terretta? I'm sorry.
Hell, I don't even remember posing the question.
It wasn't even a question. It was your take on not having a manager that really understands.
Yes.
Oh, well, I've had that before.
I know. That's why I said Nina. Jesus, what?
Landon.
Going on, man.
See that right there.
I'm sorry, but I've had that experience, and when I come across those type of individuals, I just try to do my best, I guess, with dealing with them. I know, for example, if I have to go somewhere, if I have to do something, I try to let them know a couple of days or weeks in advance. But sometimes things, like Terretta said, that I always say, shit happens. And I can say here at times, my manager, she's understanding and she'll say, Nina, do what you have to do. And I appreciate that. Because I've had managers back home in New York where I'm like, I don't understand how you can even say some of the things that, I'm sorry, I need to step away for a minute. I'll be right back. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, this is one of those kind of podcasts. You just don't know what the heck gonna happen up in the air.
This is the unexpected occurrences. Where's her manager? Because I need.
See that right there.
Sorry, I had to get my groceries.
I love it. But that's the realness, right?
Yeah.
This is the realness of what happened in day-to-day life. See, life happened in the middle of a podcast. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I didn't want to miss my groceries. I'm sorry.
Because we got to eat up in here. Shoot. I'm just saying. Life happens. We just had just
Yes.
have that experience. So
Yes. And I had to get my groceries before somebody come by and snatch them up. So
see that right there. Then I won't have no place to go and eat tomorrow. So I'm glad you did what you needed to do. All of this is tied into corporate America.
Yes.
Landon. Get that look
Yes.
off your face, okay?
Yeah, you got people snaking Grubhub, but all right.
And come right around the middle of the podcast, will you?
They wasn't supposed to get here until like 5 something.
See that
So-
right? Life happens.
Yes.
That's what we're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yes. So that's who was calling me. That's why I was like, who is that? Okay. I apologize. So
No need to. Life happens. That's what we're talking about. When your life in corporate America come together and clash up in the camp. That's what we're talking about. The pros and the cons of
Yes.
working in from home. And that's what
Yes.
this look like.
yes. So
I'm just saying.
shut
And
up,
I ain't
Lee.
even had a shot yet. I'm trying to get to one, but I ain't even had a shot yet. Because we're real people having real conversations. So I didn't
Yes.
want, I didn't want to start the conversation with tequila on my breath.
But that would have been cool to do though. It would have been cool. Have a drink. I got my groceries. Landon sitting there looking foolish. I mean, we all are.
That's why this is a free flow
Mhm.
podcast on this particular
See,
one
we
because
can't even see Nina with her 360 resolution. You
Anyway,
look a real
you know,
I
pixelated.
can see her.
anyway. All right, Landon.
Weren't you supposed to be finishing your story before your groceries showed up?
Don't get an attitude. Don't start with me, Landon. Don't start.
Your watermelon and your Kool-Aid. Finish your story.
Anyway, I was just saying. I was just saying when I would have to deal with those difficult managers, it was whenever I had something important to do, they would always ask, where you going? What time are you going to be back? It was questions which I felt that's none of your business, but I would try to understand as a manager where they was coming from. And sometimes I would tell them, and sometimes I would just say I have an emergency. But I personally, when it comes to dealing with managers that have a hard time letting you do whatever it is you need to do, I try to find my way around them because they are who they are. And at the end of the day, if I don't want to tell you, what I have to take care of, I don't have to do it, but out of respect, I might tell them. So that's my story.
Okay.
Shut up, Landon.
No,
Now
I was gonna
that's
say,
some
I think that there-
ESP kind of going on right there, Nina. I ain't even hear him say nothing, but you just came
Yeah.
out.
It's on his face. It's on his face.
What I
Oh,
was going to say, thank you, is I think there's a lot of managers who are kind of giving orders. Now, sometimes they're just assholes, and that's just the type of people that they are.
Yeah.
A lot of managers are kind of given orders to be that type of way, to where they feel like the only way for them to get the most production out of you is to kind of micromanage your every step. And I know that there's some people who feel like that kind of shows their power of being a manager. And to me, I'm like, there's certain people who honestly need that. There's certain employees who need that. And I guess those are your more lazy types, or the ones who are the excusers and stuff like that. But for somebody who's kind of self-motivated, you don't need to micromanage them. And I think that kind of falls on the manager to kind of find out what type of person that is. And that could go back to something that maybe if, the article that you read, Terretta, about Elon Musk saying that he wants the managers or the, in office people to come in at least 40 hours, which is half the time. like it is unfair, to a degree. I mean, we have people in my department that haven't had the opportunity to work from home because they're the ones basically that on hands people. They're the ones sending stuff out. They're the ones building the actual computers. To whereas, my department or my area of that department was able to go home and be in the comfort of our home, and they had to come into the office throughout the entire pandemic, and they're still going into the office today. So from Elon's perspective, I actually respect that. I didn't know that that's from Elon's perspective. I actually respect that. I didn't know that that's what it was, but I respect that he's saying these people are coming in here, and without them, you wouldn't have a job.
Yeah.
Really think about it. Without them, you would not have a job. So part of you pulling your weight is you can come in and be in the office. And again, if you think about how our setup is, you don't have to interact with anybody. You can come in, you don't have to touch anything. You can come in and go straight to your office. And now you're in your personal bubble. So if you're driving in, don't have to take the bus, don't have to take any public transportation, don't have to talk to anybody. Like, you don't have to touch anything that anybody else has touched. You can bring your lunches and your food and your snacks. Outside of going outside, how much of a risk really is it to, contact the virus if it's saying it's spread through certain means? Now, if somebody's walking in and touching everything, and you might have to punch some people in the kneecaps, but for the most part, I can understand what he's saying. I don't think that if that's what he's saying, I mean, you're not going to have like big corporate meetings or people in the same conference room. But if that's kind of what he's demanding, then that's a little bit different. But it sounds like he's like, okay, these people are coming in, they're hands-on. They're probably not making as much as you to build these cars.
Right.
And you're still working from home. Like, no, come in the office, show up, especially if it's in the same location to where you have like a facility at a lower level and they can see that you're in there working. Like, it even makes them feel better. Like, okay, we're not the low man on the totem pole who has to come in, where our fingers are all blistered and bleeding trying to get these products and everything pushed out, while everybody wearing suits and ties gets to work from home like they're on a high pedestal. So I can understand, especially from a morale standpoint, I can 100% understand that and respect that. So I if that's really what he's saying, then I commend him for that, as opposed to, yeah, you just need to come into the office because I want to have eyes on you coming into the office.
Yeah, I think that's a whole different mentality, because that's micromanaging right there, especially when you've been in a pandemic that is still, let's be real, those numbers are going back up. And I know, even coming into the company that I come into, too many people have contracted it right there because people wasn't honest enough with their diagnosis. Some of them didn't know, but some of them did and thought it was okay to come in there, and other people got sick as a result of it. So, and then you got to look at it both on, it's hard to really pinpoint what, but it's according to your company. Like you said, Landon, whereas where I thought I was going to have to literally be one of the essential workers and have to go in with what I do. Okay. And so I really had respect, because I was the first person that they set up at home. And so I have to be, I'm really grateful, because not everybody in my position has been able to do that. Okay. I know other people, and they're in the office every day, and some of them have gotten sick. Okay. And so I'm very grateful for what the company I work for did. But at the same time, when there's no rules and regulations or accountability at a company where you're not even sure of who's even coming into the office sick, then you have an issue. Okay, and I'm bringing that up because what is in place where you can demand that everybody come into the office? Do you have everything up and running where they feel safe coming into the building itself? You got to look at that too. It's not just about you having eyes on colleagues or employees or whatever you want to call them. You got to also make it right in that building for when they get there, that they're not running too much of an extra risk of getting sick, because you don't know what people health issues are. And even healthy people have died from this. Young people have died from this. So I can understand not quickly wanting to go back into any building. And that's just based on my own experience. And you know where I sit, everybody goes. So I was not going to put myself in that type of risk. And I was prepared to look for another job. So I think the corporations do have a responsibility. Yeah, they can require that the people come into the office, but they also got to make them feel safe enough to be there too. And we don't know what that looks like, even on Elon Musk watch. Because I know some of the most well-known companies with money still don't take care of their people. So that's just my viewpoint. And I'm going to be quiet and sit over here and marinate in that tequila that I'm thinking about. Yeah, we're going to be talking about tequila all through this. The 4th of July, get down, okay? The 4th of July, this is what we do. We drink tequila. That's what we do.
I'm margaritas. I love my margaritas.
That's all right. We got you on that too. Tequila. Landon, what you trying to say? Don't judge me.
I ain't got nothing to say. I didn't know you were such an alcoholic, but it's okay.
Ooh, see, there you go, putting the business out there. Why must you put the business
I'm just
out
saying,
there?
you looking a little Cherokee today. I didn't know you had Indian in you, but I thought it was a filter. But no, you already had some shots.
Have Cherokee in me. My grandmother was Cherokee. So absolutely, you're going to see that. I am what they call a red bone. Absolutely. Own it to the 10th power.
I believe it.
I even turn beet red when I get hot and all that stuff. I just turn red, and people call me red. I'm like, don't call me that. I'm yellowish with a reddish tone. Give me all my colors. Now get back to the corporate stuff. I'm just saying. So I'm just gonna sit here and keep my little light skinned mouth quiet. Y'all go right ahead. But we gotta show our audience that we can have fun too. Everything ain't just about corporate America and mental health, although those are important issues, and we're gonna cover them always. But every once in a while, what's good for our mental is just to simply laugh and be different and be funny. That's why Landon is so, well, I can't call him healthy at this moment because he's going through some stuff as far as his body. But he'll be all right when the swelling go down. But that haven't stopped him from cracking jokes and taking picture of people who don't want to be shown in that light.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Right.
That I wanted to kill him. Ain't no sense of me.
You ain't by yourself. I was like, I'm gonna get him back. I just got to figure out how. I was like,
to our audience, we be having some crazy looks, and this man be taking pictures of us. And for a small fee, we'll show them to you. But until
we gotta send you some tequila.
Those are secret pictures, Landon. Don't be taking no more. Shoot, up in here.
I'm really glad. You know what?
right now.
I wonder if I can screen share.
You better not.
See?
Landon, that wouldn't be wise, my son.
Oh man.
Yes.
Because when I finish laughing, I'm gonna sip on some tequila, then I'll be out to find you.
I'll be in the back.
And they gonna do nothing once I find them, Miss Nina, but I'm sure gonna find them.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be right on the passenger side looking for them while you
That's
drive.
right. Thelma and Louise. We will rock LA up trying to get to you, Landon. Don't play.
No, you still gonna be in LA. You ain't gonna find me.
I didn't want to put your business all out there.
Right?
Have our fans looking you up. No,
Mhm.
we have all that.
Look
They
him
didn't
up for
want to
what?
try.
Look him up for what?
What is going on here?
Look
They
him
didn't
up for
want to
what?
try.
Look him up for what?
What is going on here?
Yes, something is going on. Okay, Nina, I am looking at the quality of you.
See,
I can see your beautiful smile, but I don't
360.
see. Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, because she got on a 360 instead of the 720 or 1080 resolution, so you can't see nothing. This is
Anyway.
all we see of you.
You are wrong, Landon. Just wrong.
I'm gonna start calling you Silhouette.
Well, how do
Oh,
I change the resolution, Landon?
Huh?
How do I change the resolution?
Settings and then camera, and then under camera resolution it'll say whatever it is.
Oh. Which one I
So
go to?
720 is the highest we can go right now because
Yeah, that's what I have it on, 720.
Oh,
oh,
my
yeah.
God.
Okay, thank you, Landon. Thank you.
I don't know what to tell you. Oh,
Wait,
man.
but I do have my light on. So anyway, yeah. So that was one of the topics that I wanted to bring up to see how you guys felt about that whole Elon Musk situation. Another situation I wanted to ask you guys about is, as we know about Roe and Wade versus Wade, the abortion.
Mhm.
And I was reading that some companies said they're willing to honor women who need abortions to go if they have to go into another state.
Mhm.
How do you feel about having to tell your company that you need to have an abortion? So
Oh,
you have
wow.
to go. Yeah.
I'm gonna let y'all talk on this one because this one I don't have a problem telling them that. I never have to.
Oh, you know what?
This doesn't affect me. So
Okay, but let me pose this question to you, though, Landon.
Mm-hmm.
That may not affect you directly, but what do you think about your wife, your daughter? Let's say a medical situation comes up. Now, we're in California, so California really, you don't have too much of a problem as far as that. But let's just say you lived in a state that shut abortions down.
Mm-hmm.
And your daughter or your wife or someone in your family close to you who is a young lady of childbearing age have a medical condition, or heaven forbid, sexual assault, and have to make that decision on not carrying the baby to full term, and they're on a job that offers that, okay? Or what if they're on a job that doesn't? As a man, how do you feel about that for your daughter, for the future generation going forth that find themselves in this situation?
first and foremost, if it's the latter, we would be doing this podcast. I'd be probably in a jail cell doing it from there. That's
okay.
But on a more serious note, I think having that open communication and conversation. Like, this is what could happen should you engage in these activities, or put yourself hopefully not put yourself in a situation for this type of thing to take place. So you fill their mind with the consequences of their actions and the people that they hang out with. Now, obviously, that's not, one size fits all, but you want to prepare them, or I would want to prepare them as much as possible for, should this happen, these are what your choices are. And hopefully through the tutelage of being a parent and presenting them with all the facts and the information, they make the best decision possible for them, for where they're at in their lifespan, right? Now, if we are saying it is the latter, where something does happen, and God forbid, that's tough. Like, how would you react to that? How would you? I honestly don't know. Literally, like, I would probably be on a manhunt, like looking for, who did that and seeking some type of justice. But I don't know, like, how you or me as a man would, like, respond to what's going on. It's one of those things where I feel like I'd have to be in that situation and know what the laws are. Obviously, that's not something that you wish for your, loved ones or your family or anything like that. But at the same time, like, knowing how I am, I would probably want to be, like, searching for said person and then doing everything I could to say, okay, this is what happened and this is what needs to happen to rectify the situation. And if there's nothing that the state or the country or whatever is going to help you with, and it's one of those things where it's like, all right, well, there's a shitty situation and we're going to have to get through it. I'm not going to leave you, to take care of this or so forth on your own. So, yeah, I don't know why you put me on the spot. I can't, no kid.
Because you're the only man here. Who else was I going to put on the spot?
Meaning her groceries.
Because
you know what?
from a man's perception. That's why I wanted to hear your viewpoint, because you put out there, that wouldn't really affect me, but there will be. It could be ways that it would,
Right.
and that's why I was just trying to get your viewpoint from a man, what that looked like. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think I think a lot of men have made a lot of decisions already that they shouldn't have. This is an example of it. Like, I can't tell you guys what to do or what's best for you and your body and, like, your health and like, grown ass person. That's going to be your decision as to what you want to do. We can't even have kids. So how is it that we're going to sit here and tell you what to do with yours? So, like, I understand, like, how a man would be affected. And I didn't mean like, oh, it doesn't affect me, because it does, and and I'm glad that you pointed that out. I was going to get there eventually, calling it and stuff. But from a physical standpoint, like, it doesn't, like, I will never understand what that would be like for, you guys or women in general. We're not built the same. So
I have a question right here. Another question, because with Roe versus Wade being done, there's other things that may come about as well. You've been hearing them talk about it. I know Nina have, because if you're into politics like I am, my ear is definitely always listening. And I do believe this is the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
of rights being taken back.
Yeah.
And one of the ways we really need to be looking at is the voting rights.
Yeah.
They are under attack. We just so happen we are really in a blessed state where we're not really going through those things. But when I fly home to Oklahoma, where guess what? They've already got an abortion ban.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But the voting rights are also under fire. So you have states that are literally getting ready to start rolling back rights that we have fought and died for. Here's my question. I can't tell you which one is next. I think it's going to be gay rights, to be honest. When we're looking at that, and I have a lot of friends that are in the LGBTQ plus community. How do we look? I don't even know how to be an ally in that case, because they're coming for those rights.
Yeah.
Rather it's the gay rights, rather it's the voting rights, and they better be careful, because not too long ago, it was illegal for a Black man to marry a white woman or vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And trust me, they're probably going to be looking at that too.
Oh yeah. I think they those Supreme Court justices be sitting at their desk or wherever they those Supreme Court justices be sitting at their desk or wherever they sit with a pen and paper just ready like to make that decision. Oh, well, we could overturn this one, so this is what's going to happen next. Oh, we overturn that one, this is what's going to happen next. It's like they're ready. Like they've been wanting to do this for a long time, and now that they have the opportunity to do it, they just gonna like just go down the line checking off stuff. So I personally feel we are going back in time, not moving forward. And I don't want to say that it's scary, because I've already seen this coming when how can I say it? When 45 got in office. That's the best way to say it. I already seen it. And when I would try to tell my friends about what was going on, they will always say, oh, you're overreacting. Oh, that can't happen in the United States. Oh, this will never happen. And actually, one of them pinged me yesterday and was like, you see what's going on? And I'm like, I tried to tell you, you didn't want to listen. So it's like, what are we gonna do about it? That's what it is now, and so what are we gonna do about it? We can't continue to let them make these changes, because we'll all be like slaves in our own country, which in a kind of way we are at times, but we'll all be slaves in our own country. So I just think we have to really start paying attention and start taking things a little bit more seriously, because our rights are being, just taken from us now. If you could tell a woman what she can and can't do with her body when she's in a certain situation, that's a problem to me.
Absolutely.
When we have to worry about voting, that's a problem to me.
Absolutely.
When someone is gay and they can't be them true selves and be happy, that's a problem to me. When people try to, just force people to live or believe in certain things, that's a problem to me. And I'm sorry, I can't fall in line with none of that, because I'm my own person. So I can't sit back and just let it happen. I have to try and figure out what can I do to, change this.
See, and I'm glad that you brought all that up, because y'all done put me on the spot to give my thought process on Roe v. Wade, and neither one of y'all did yourselves.
Did our what?
You didn't give your update. You didn't give your thought process on Roe v. Wade, but you had me do it.
Oh, I just told you.
I know.
Oh.
I think it's wrong for them to take that back after it had been settled. I don't believe in the government saying what you can and can't do.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been one for that. I think a woman's choice is her choice, and no one should be a part of that choice other than the people involved.
Mm-hmm.
I understand what people are saying as far as pro-choice, but let me be crystal clear. I have a brother that was conceived out of incest. Okay. And that was the secret in the family. And what ended up happening was anything with a secret, when it comes out, it usually is pretty explosive.
Mm-hmm.
So he has never been right. Okay. But I had to look at it from the standpoint of my mother, because she tried to be a mother to him. But when you're looking at a child that you were raped, and back then abortions were not allowed.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to have the baby.
Mm-hmm.
It put everyone involved in a bad situation. And what ended up happening, it became worse because he didn't know who he was, he didn't understand, and the anger was toward my mother.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It wasn't towards what had happened, it was towards her. And it killed her at an early age. So, yeah, I'm opinionated about it because I'm living it. Okay? And some of the things my brother tell me, why couldn't she just get rid of me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna be honest, knowing my mother and her mother, had that been an option, that was the choice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I look at this and I'm like, once again, how do the government step in and tell you, the woman, young, and my mother was a teenager. She wasn't even legal. Okay. So you look at these things, and when you're up close and personal on it, you have a different viewpoint than somebody who just sit there and sign laws.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because at the end of the day, that one situation has had a lasting impact
Yeah.
in my family for generations. We are still dealing with it today.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm always, and here's my other thing, and I know we got to wrap it up, and I'm going to throw it out here because Nina opened the door, and that's why we need to have these conversations, because this was a testing point. What just happened? You need to understand, now that they got that done, they're scrambling to get these other things done. So Nina saying, what can I do as a person to start making a change, a difference? Because it's not going to go down for me like that. One of the things that makes me very angry when I'm talking to people about issues just like this, especially people that look like us, they do not believe voting works. And it does. If you can't look back and see the people that have fought and died for our rights to vote, you can't tell me that there's not nothing in voting. We have Congress right now still redlining in different states and making voting such a hardship for people that look like us. There's a reason for that. Okay. And if you look back ever since slavery, that has always been the problem.
Mm-hmm.
They try to create us to be. Here's my thing. Who gave them the right to look at Black people and call us? They don't even see us as human. So you ask yourself, what can you do? You get your ass out there and vote. That's what you do. Not just for the president. We got to start voting for our judges, our councilmen, our people that are making the laws on the state levels, federal levels, way before you get to presidents.
Mm-hmm.
And until Black people start understanding that your vote counts, that you need to get up and get to these polls or send your mail-in ballot if you live in a state like that, you got to vote. That's the only way we're going to overturn these things. That is my suggestion on what you should do. Read up on the laws, understand who is sitting on the bench, see what's going on and what they believe. Because those two justices, Amy and what's the man name? Brett. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
calling him.
Kavanaugh.
Yeah, I don't
Mhm.
even want to say that because that's just too much. But anyway, they were asked about this very thing, and both of them said the rule of thumb has already been established. That's what that's what their answer was. And look what happened.
Mhm. But Terretta, to your point about voting, like playing devil's advocate here,
Mm-hmm.
I believe in voting, I do. But when it comes to our people, when they say, for example, voting don't do anything, at the same time, although I believe voting do something, I could see where they're coming from, the disappointment. And it's like no matter how many times we do vote for our judges, our Congress, our presidents, the seats that we have and everything, it's like it's the same thing over and over again. And the seats that we have and everything, it's like it's the same thing over and over again. And I feel like I get where they're coming from. And I try to explain to them the very thing you just said, the importance of voting. But when they come back, with their beliefs and what they see, I understand where it's coming from, the disappointment. And it's a tough situation to be in at times. But I know where I stand and I know where they stand, and I try to just, explain to them why it's important to vote, but sometimes it falls on deaf ears. And I'm not gonna push them, onto my beliefs, but I do understand where they come from, with their point of view at times. Because when I look at things with politics, I'm like, the answer I personally feel is in our history. We keep repeating the same thing over and over again because we never took the time to fix the situation. We never took the time to actually see, how important it is that all of us play a part in just trying to make the situation better. Race, being gay, abortion, whatever situation it may be. It's I it's just a hard thing to fight about when it comes to voting, in my opinion, because like I said, I just see where other people get their point of view from, if I'm making sense to you.
You are, but here's how I'm going to end that situation.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not voting, you can't say anything that you're receiving. Okay? You can't just vote once or twice and because things did not turn, and that you don't know who's out, how many people are out voting. I'm looking at the numbers for Black people. Unless there is a presidential race, we do not go to the polls. I watch those numbers and have been for years. Okay. And all I tell people when I'm talking about, and I see the time, when we have those discussions, I hear them too. I tell people if you didn't vote, then you don't have a say on what is going on. Because your vote do count. And it's not enough of us that are getting out, doing what we need to do. Because if Black people really united, how about this? If Black and brown and Asian and all of us came together and voted, America would look different. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
But politics is a dirty game. And
Absolutely.
I think, when our ancestors were voting, it was a different time. Whereas now it's like their politicians are just flat out saying, they're trying to steal the election. They're trying to change like the voting, how we vote and everything. And it's like, to me, that's what I'm saying, where people, I feel they lose that momentum or that passion to vote because they feel like the vote will be stolen.
Well,
It's by design.
You can't steal nothing if you're not a part of it. I'm going to keep going back to it. And if you look back at different presidents, this is not a new problem. They've been trying to steal stuff from the beginning. That's why I made the statement. They don't see us as human. We were 3/5. I don't even know what that looked like, but that does that mean eyebrows and I don't know. I don't even know what 3/5 look like, but that's what they have us at, and that mindset is still embedded. Okay, and you can still hear it, you can still see it, and all I'm saying is I'm not trying to just say voting is just the only answer. But what I am saying is if you're not going to those polls, not just for the presidential race, and I'm talking about every time those polls open with a race and it's in your district, you need to keep going, because then that's your vote. You're doing what you're supposed to do. You're not held accountable for what other people may or may not be doing. You're doing your part. Therefore, if nothing gets done, that's not on you. You did your part, period. Then that way, no one can come and say anything to you. I did my part, things didn't change. That is not on me. I did what I was supposed to do, period. That's an excuse. They've always robbed Black people of the vote. You used to have to go through tests or pay calls.
Yep.
Okay. White people wasn't doing this. Black people was made to do it. And still to this day, they're making it hard for Black people to vote. That's by design. I heard what Landon said. That is by design. But we are resilient people. You keep going. You keep punching. You may not see it in your generation, but Landon his daughter should be able to see the work that people like me and Carmen, because we're older, we're already ahead of the game. His daughter should be able to come up with the rights that people have fought for. So that's my story. This has turned into a great conversation. I hope we can visit this one again, because I'm feeling a little hot up under this wig. I'm like, vote. Don't be talking about folks. Woo, Jesus, I need my tequila. But that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I do want to say before we end this podcast, to our newcomers, to the people who haven't even found us yet, but will in the future, it will be some great topics going forward. We got some shows coming up with different guests that I know that you're going to want to tune into. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Landon is going to come back crazy. Nina's going to come back being crazier. And Miss T is going to be the craziest, because that's just how we roll. That's my story. Have a great 4th, and that's what I'm sticking to.
Landon?
I ain't got nothing. Get off. I'm done with you.
Well, I just want to tell everyone have a great 4th, and we'll see you on the next show. Talk to you later.
Real people having real conversation. Until next time.